Good morning. It's Sunday morning. I'm a little later than I usually am. But today I am working with my Are You Aware program. And we're going to talk about the cup symbology of the tarot. Tarot is ancient. The deck I use is called the Rider-Waite deck. Was colored by Pamela Coleman Smith many, many years ago. And I found it the most delightful tool that I could have had, or anybody can have. So I did a grouping of wands. Wands deals with your thinking, how you think, what you think, where it all goes. And then there's these, the next one is cups. This is the Ace of Cups. Cups deal with your emotions. They tell you basically how it all works. It's the symbology of the wands has a lot of elements of action, changing, defense mechanisms, etc. Mainly what we really need to know is when we have a thought, we contemplate the thought, then we decide, and then we move forward and do it. And then, of course, there's all the mess that we get ourselves in because we worry or we contemplate. Now, cups are a little bit different, not mega different, but a little bit different. This is one of my favorite symbols. Ace of Cups. This is the acceptance of what I call the love force. You could call it God. You could call it whatever supreme being out there. But if you look very closely, you can see the Dove of Peace is putting the sacrament into the cup, and the sign on the cup is the union between the spiritual and the physical. And you've got these streams of energy coming down. Then there's these, I think it's 26 droplets of water, 22, and I think that's what I wrote it down again. Sorry, 28 droplets of water, 2 and 8 are 10, 10 is 1. So it's like when we embrace the force, when we embrace the knowing that there is an energy out there that loves you, cares about you, wants you the best for you, then it changes many, many things. One of the elements at the very bottom of this card, there are lotus flowers with lily pads. So it's got a lot of spiritual connotation, and it is the beginning, because until we recognize that that force exists, unseeable, it's not like you can go, oh, like here's my coffee cup. You can't touch it, but it's a knowing, it's a feeling inside. When you connect with that knowingness, however, to me, it was when I connected with the love force, and I felt it, experienced it, and knew it had to be inside me. And working with that. This then comes the second step. The second step is the communication. It is the balancing. We have up here the healing, because when you accept the love force, when you accept, or even another person in a loving way, there is union. And when you create the union, there's peace and there's harmony. And basically that's what it means. But it's also about communication, the symbol and reality of life. There needs to be the ability to be able to communicate what you know, communicate your feeling, because when that communication happens, this is the connection here. Boy, my brain has gone away. Hermes, I think. But it shows the healing together with these two creates peace and harmony. The background is harmonious. There's a house of greenery. And so communication of who and what, when you're in, this can show up in a reading, for instance, when a person needs to communicate, but also if they are communicating. And that brings us to number 3, which is enjoyment, celebration. Everyone having their cups raised high and dancing to celebrate. Also, you may notice there are grapes. This one has some, I'm going to go the right way. This one has grapes in her hand, and there's grapes, I think, also on the ground. but it's like fruition. It's like the harvest festival. This is celebration of joy of life. So just to look at these three, because this is where the key is, we acknowledge and accept the force. We create harmony in ourselves, but also harmony with others, where we understand that. And therefore, we can celebrate life and we can be happy. Now, that's the basic three. Now, number 4. When we have something that happens to us that is spectacular, and we've felt the connection and we've created connections with others or not, this is what tends to happen. Look at the arms and the legs of this gentleman. Arms and legs crossed. I don't want any more. I'm full. I've got everything I want to know. But what's happening here? They're being offered more. The cup with the cloud coming out of nowhere. So here he's got his 3 cups, what he's created, what he's felt, and what he's known, but now he's shut off to anything more. That's the one thing about life, it's like it never has an absolute ending. There's always something that you need to be aware of, and the direction that you're heading and where you're wanting to go and what you're wanting to do. And if you consider or continue on that track, this is what occurs. You lose the 3 cups, which were happily raised because they were happy, now are overturned, spilled out. And even though there's 2 cups behind here, this person's grieving, the black cloak, the head down. You can think sometimes, if you ever had that poor me syndrome, poor me, nothing's working, that feeling, that's this particular symbol. But if you look very closely in the background, there's the river of life, which you need to cross over, but there is a bridge. In the background, there's a bridge over that river of life, and then the castle of dreams. So what it's saying, you have to turn your head, look in a different direction, and you can then reclaim that. That is also supported by number 6, which basically number 6 are these very little sort of, I don't know what you call them, little Hummel people having communicating. Again, through the cup symbology, communication is extremely important. So the male is offering the little female here with a cup with flowers. If you look at her gloves, if I remember rightly, yes, she's got mittens on. So when you have gloves or mittens and it's not your direct hand, it means there's a little bit of caution. But they're in a courtyard. There is a cup full of flowers, and the other cup's here, which was fallen over in the 5. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there were 4, which is, if we go back to 4, well, that was when you began to resist them. Sorry, I sometimes get confused when they're not right in front of my face. But this is like the past to a degree, that you're needing to open up, because everything is there, but they're not like regular people, you might say. So there is an element of that. And then what we tend to do, is this one, imagination. We will imagine all the things that life can give us. And not that it can't be, but the imagination is not grounded. Grounding is a very important part in human development. It's not talked about it a lot, except you're involved in metaphysics. To be grounded, to be very aware of what your feelings are, what's happening out there, how to utilize everything, how to make it work. But you'll remember the interesting thing here I always found. In number 5, the man had a black cloak, and he's sad and depressed, right? Number 7, he's still here, but now he's imagining what can be. But it's not grounded. It does not have any reality at all. And so in number 8, he then is having to leave behind what is established so far. He's got his red jacket on, which means action, and he's got a staff in his right hand, which means he's in authority of it. The river of life is a few kind of muddy puddles, and he's heading out into the hills. But the key to this is the moon that's in the sky. In the moon, you've got a reflected light here, the moon, and behind it, the sun can be there, but it's not really showing. So it's like there are times when we have to let go of our imagination. Our imagination is where we can dream for sure, and we need to do that. But then we have to let it go. And if we do that and walk what we call the path, which can you have it? We haven't looked at swords yet, so we come to here. 9 cups all lined up, a little bit chubby because life's good. Arms are folded. That can sometimes mean a little bit closed, but when we have things working really well, we do hold those very, very, very closely to us. And then we have the man and the woman and 2 children with the house and the rainbow of the cups. Life is good. So what have we really learned through this emotional journey? And very often what I found when looking at the tarot mythology, as I began to put it together, the first 3 symbols are the main ones to know. The knowing that there is a force that is there for you, to bring that into balance within yourself, so you can, it's like understanding, and be happy. That's all it is to be happy, to feel that happiness. Because if you get hung up on that, that's when you begin not seeing other things that are being offered to you. It's like, okay, I've got this green pen, but I don't want the silver one because I've got the green pen. So I'm not going to incorporate, but actually, to be honest, because I've got both of them on my table, the black pen works better. But I'm going to reject it because I have the green one. So those are the things that we tend to do, and that's where things go a little bit funny. We have a past. We need to honor the past, but don't get caught in the past because you've got to move forward. Don't go into imagination and blow everything up. If you were to look at all these figurines in here, we have everything that we can do. We can have the things that work, the things that we can have, but we have our dreams and we may not be practical. So it's about leaving behind what's not working. If it's not working for you in an emotional sense, strive for the emotionality and strive for the happiness that is there. And it all begins with my favorite symbol, which I've buried in here, the Ace of Cups. If you have some tarot cards, meditate on the Ace of Cups. See what it says to you. That's why I like it's one of the ones that I really like. A lot of people say, oh, I like them all, but well, there's some that really speak to you. And I know when I first was in a meditation, I was in a development group of quite an intense development group where we met once a month. And when I ran into this love vibration and knew I had to pull it inside, and that's the key. We can understand it, we can go there, but we need it inside, into our hearts. We need our hearts. And by doing and that, getting that way, what begins to happen, you will understand more about how the suit of cups really, really works. Thank you for listening to you. And I want to say hi, Karen, because, again, trying to connect back with you, I don't know why I have so much difficulty with that. And so if you want to text me, email me, or do something, I'd sure appreciate it because I have some things I wanted to say hi to you for about. Appreciate your support. I appreciate everything about you. If you're listening, Are You Aware comes on every now and again. And Sunday thought, well, it'll probably be back next Sunday. But this Sunday, knew I was running late because the soccer game I was watching wasn't done yet. So it went into overtime as well. So you have a good rate. I'll be back tomorrow night for mental mind treatments. Please remember that. If you haven't experienced our mental mind treatments on Monday nights, just check out the past ones and see what you think, and you may have something that you need to come on and share with us. And so that's it for cups. Enjoy. Bye now.